Well, good morning, Delaware County. As you may notice, this is not George Needham or Nicole Fowles.
What?
I know. Instead, you've got Molly Myers-LaBady, Deputy Director, and
Karen Cowan, President of the Friends.
How about that?
Nicole and George turned their back for a second, and we have taken over.
They're out looking for Easter eggs.
Yes.
Yes.
I hope they find some.
And bring back some for us, too.
A little chocolate, at least, you think.
If
That
they
would
have
be
Reese's
good.
Cups in them, I'm down.
I know.
Oh.
So what I'm excited about, though, this morning is that today we're going to have the author, William Kent Krueger, on our show.
The Friends have been trying to bring this gentleman to Delaware for like 3 or 4 years. And finally, first we had booked him, and then he was, I think, doing research for one of his books, so he couldn't come. And then COVID hit, and we've been talking to him, and he's just the nicest man and one of the best authors that I've read. We're just really excited to bring him to Delaware.
I've been having a lot of fun reading a lot of his interviews as we've been getting ready for this, too. And I've been reading his book, Ordinary Grace.
That was the one that's on hold at the library.
That's the one you're waiting for? Okay, I'll try
Yep.
not to give too many spoilers, but his characters are amazing.
Yes.
I cannot wait. So we're just waiting for him he's joined us on the line. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you this morning?
I am great. How are you today?
It's chilly in St. Paul, Minnesota,
Oh, man.
but at least the sun is out.
We're hoping here in Ohio to get up to 70, so
Oh, are you serious?
yes.
Well, I'm moving back to Ohio.
Please do.
Love to have you. Has the snow melted yet?
We just got a dusting again last night.
Oh, goodness.
Somebody needs to get it.
Yes.
As they say, April snow showers bring
May
May flowers.
Whatever.
Something's going to happen for you, I think, eventually. In Ohio, don't worry. We're probably going to have another 3 snows before we actually get the heat of summer.
Right.
And, today may be our only spring day.
Yeah. Not to mention tornadoes and rain. But
Yes.
other than that, we're good.
There you go.
So we are so excited to have you here today.
Yes.
And we can't wait for your event coming up here at the library. And so we had a few questions, if you don't mind, we'd love to ask you.
Sure, fire away.
Okay.
Well, all of your books, you've got most of your books are about Coracle Connor, and then you've got 3 that aren't. So talk about the Coracle Connor series and how you got started with that, and then why you deviated from that for the books that aren't about Cork.
Sure. For anyone not familiar with my Coracle Connor series, those stories are set in the Great North Woods of Minnesota, way up north. My protagonist in that series, Coracle Connor, is the former sheriff of the fictional Tamarack County, Minnesota. He's a man of mixed heritage. He's part Irish-American, and he's part Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, which is the largest tribal affiliation we have in northern Minnesota. Because of that mixture in his heritage, and largely because of the area in which I've chosen to set my work, a lot of the stories in that series come from issues that rise out of the interface of the 2 cultures, white and Ojibwe. So I've written about Indian gaming casinos and the effect that that's had both on the Ojibwe and the surrounding white population. I've written about, the ongoing battle we have here in Minnesota over hunting and fishing treaty rights. I've written about the influx of the drug and the gang cultures on the reservation. Always at some level in my work, I deal with the whole question of racial prejudice. There are currently 18 books in that series. Number 19 comes out at the end of the summer. So the Coracle Connor series that my New York Times best-selling Coracle Connor series
Yes.
has been my bread and butter for a very long time. But in 2013, I published a standalone novel called Ordinary Grace that broke me out to a much broader audience.
Which I am reading and loving.
Oh, good. Well, it's a very special story for me. And I got to tell you, I spent my adolescence in Ohio.
Yes.
I spent a year in Worthington.
Oh, lovely.
And then a couple of years in the Lima area.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a firm believer that that the Midwest sets a hook in your heart, and it always pulls you back. So when I wrote Ordinary Grace, I wanted to set it in southern Minnesota, which is very similar to much of the Midwest, and particularly to Ohio in terms of its agrarian beauty.
Yeah.
So when I was writing Ordinary Grace, I was really harking back in large measure to my time in Ohio.
You know, I can really feel that as I'm reading it. I mean, one of the things as I'm reading Ordinary Grace, for sure, I'm really impressed in how well you're writing the child's character in that. I was a children's librarian before I was a deputy director, and I have to say one of the things that has impressed me is, you know, when I was a kid, my dad was the district attorney, and I often bonded with these preachers' kids. And there's just sort of a reality to some things that they accept really well. And the, you know, early story, when, you know, you open up really early with a murder, you did such a great job of being able to capture, you know, this kid wasn't devastated. These kids were curious. It was sad, but, you know, you got a really good balance of how children deal with these things. And, you know, I don't know if that came from experience or, you know, where that came from, but it's one of those things that you wrote. I don't know how did you approach writing Frank's voice? As I get to the question there, how did you approach that? I knew I had a question in there.
Well, one of the things I was looking for in the writing of Ordinary Grace was a story that would allow me to go back and recall an important period in my own life. The summer I was 13 years old. For a lot of reasons across the entire course of my life, I vividly remembered the summer I was 13. And I wanted to go back and recall it and evoke it in such a way that I could use bits and pieces of my own life, my own memory, my own perceptions to create the story. So the Drum family at the heart of that book, that's pretty much my family. The town of New Bremen is so like the small Midwestern towns, the Ohio towns really, where I spent my adolescence. And in terms of the voice of the narrator, 13-year-old Frank Drum, I'm a firm believer that men never really mature much past their adolescence. So it was pretty easy for me to capture his voice.
You know, you get me in trouble all the time with my husband when I tell him that.
I mean, you have the 12-year-old Coracle Connor in Lightning Strike as the main character, and it shows, again, something that happened to him in his formative year that took him to the rest of his life. So, that adolescence tends to be something that sticks with you for your entire life.
Yeah, I wrote my last three novels, or three of the last important novels that I've written, were all from the perspective of an adolescent male. So there was Ordinary Grace, that was followed by what I consider to be its companion novel, a book called This Tender Land, and then last year, Lightning Strike, all from the perspective of an adolescent male. And boy, I had a wonderful time writing all of those books. But my next book will not be from an adolescent perspective.
So the books, especially the Coracle Connor series, you do such a great job with the Indian and Ojibwe culture and the rites and the things that they do that a lot of us have no idea. How do you get that information, and how do you make sure that it's true to what they really believe and what they really do?
Well, I have a lot of friends in the Native community now who, whenever I have a manuscript ready to go, I will usually have at least one, it's usually two, of my Ojibwe friends read and vet the manuscript. So I haven't said anything that's really stupid or even worse, offensive. My shelves are filled with books on not just Ojibwe, the Ojibwe culture, but Native cultures here in North America in general. I'm always checking in with Indian Country online just to see what kinds of issues are going on and what folks in the Native community are talking about. So I do my best to get it right. That said, I'm a white guy. I have no Native blood in me whatsoever, so I'm always painfully aware when I write a Coracle Connor novel that I'm trespassing on a culture not my own, and I do my best to get it right. But I always tell readers, if you want a true Native perspective, read a Native author. Don't read a white guy.
And you did study anthropology, am I correct?
Yeah, I was a cultural anthropology major in college.
Very
That's
cool.
great. Now we have time for about one more question. So, of course, my mind wants to know, what are you working on next?
Well, the next book of my Coracle Connor series is finished and ready to go. It will be published in August, this coming August, and I am wrapping up what I hope to be my final revisions to the next standalone novel book called Alabaster that will probably be released the following fall, the fall of 2023.
So
Wow.
you've been busy.
Wow.
You know, the pandemic created such chaos for so many people. I feel a little guilty that it turned out for me to be one of the most productive periods I've gone through in a very long time.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm finding it is something different for everyone. We all went through these unique experiences together separately.
Yeah.
So, well, it has been such an honor to get to talk to you today.
And we are so looking forward to you coming to Delaware. And I know that you're going to be doing a little touring of some of your places that you lived in Worthington, and we're having lunch. We are just really excited. We've been waiting for this for like 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
So this is very cool.
We are
Well, I'm-
really excited.
Yeah.
Fair warning.
I'm pretty stoked, too. I'm looking forward to it very much.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
We're going to have to head to our commercial break. Well, welcome back, everyone. Now we're going to get down to one of our favorite things to do, talk about books. Karen, what are you reading?
We just had William Kent Krueger on. And guess what I'm reading? A William Kent Krueger book.
I think that's a fabulous idea.
I thought so, too. For those of you who do not know William Kent Krueger, you need to. The one I'm going to talk about is Lightning Strikes. That's his 18th book in the Coracle Connor series. If you like mysteries, he's really good. And the 18 books the Coracle Connor series are all mystery books. But being the 18th book, it is the book that starts. It's the prequel of the Coracle Connor series. So we look at Coracle Connor as a 12-year-old rather than as a sheriff in Minnesota. The 12-year-old in Cork and his friends are going on a camping trip for a Boy Scout badge. And they're walking in by the Boundary Waters in upper Minnesota, and they happen across, they're at one of the Native American Indians' sacred sites, walk on and happen to see a gentleman hanging from a tree. And it's Big John, and Big John has been hanging from this tree for probably 3 or 4 days. And so Coracle Connor's father was the sheriff, so they go and they find the sheriff and they get the people, and everybody says it was suicide because Big John at one point had been an alcoholic, but he was recovering, and so they just thought he went off the wagon, something happened, and he hung himself. But Cork and his friends have decided that maybe that really wasn't the story. And so Cork encourages his dad to keep investigating and to find the truths. And he and his friends also decide that they're going to do some investigating with his father's permission. It wasn't like they were doing something that, his dad didn't know about. But they tend to find a whole lot of things that go on with this. What they end up finding I'll tell you what they end up finding. But they end up finding a whole lot of things that help go to the plot of this book. In addition to the suicide, there's a young lady who dies. And so these all get wrapped into this really, really good mystery. And if you haven't, again, Kent Krueger does a really good job of wrapping his mysteries into this blanket of Indian culture. And you really feel like you are there and that you're in the sweat lodge when they do their sweats, and that you are with Cork's grandmother as she's mixing some medicine, or she's trying to tell Cork, you need to learn how to speak the language because the language is dying. You need to learn our cultures because the culture is dying. There's some very familiar characters like Cork's grandmother, like Henry. I forget his last name, but he's the medicine. He's not a medicine man. There's another name for it. But he acts as the guide and the seer and the culture keeper. He's the one that sets up the sweat lodge, and he's the one that tells people to find the truths and to look beyond, and just a really, really
His books
neat
are
guy.
so hard to put down.
This is one of those books you're going to read all day and all night till you get it done.
As I've been prepping for this, I find myself sitting in my car, that moment too where you're like, if I wait 3 more minutes, am I going to be late to that meeting?
Yep.
And is it worth it to be late to that meeting?
And it's always worth it.
Always worth it.
It's always worth it. Lightning strikes. He'll be talking about it when he comes to visit us, but just get into his series. He's really a New York Times bestseller, and there's a reason.
Well, of course, I'm going to have to take us a different direction.
Of course. Good idea, though.
I'm going to have to take us to one of my new favorite books because I was in the mood for a brainless book. Now, you guys know I love Outlander. I've maybe mentioned the book a few times when I've been on the show. But, of course, I had run out of Outlander books, so there's a great book by an author named Casey Dyer called Finding Fraser. Now, Outlander fans, this is not to carry you on through the show. This is not the science and the thought and the...
What is it?
This is just ridiculous fun. So
Yes.
it takes the character of Emma. Emma gets fired from her job. Her boyfriend breaks up with her. And she decides that, you know what? I'm going to follow my favorite book, Outlander. I am going to sell everything I own. I'm going to jump on a plane to Scotland. I am going to fly to Scotland, and I'm going to find my Jamie Fraser.
Of course.
But Emma is a bit like me, I think. She's hapless. Everything she does goes wrong. She meets, herself, as we refer to Diana Gabaldon as fans, and blows it. Totally embarrassing. Won't even tell you in the book what she said. She meets a lot of people, and it's disastrous. Manages to have all of her belongings stolen, but her adventure to and in Scotland makes you kind of want to run away. I had a moment where I was like, I found my Jamie Fraser and all, but maybe I just need to run away to Scotland.
There you go.
Maybe I just need to get on a plane. So Finding Fraser by Casey Dyer. Highly suggest if you're looking for something, you're not going to have to think at all, and you don't even have to have read Outlander to get it.
That's my kind of book.
It is a fantastic way to do it. Now we have a few minutes left.
Yes.
Would you like to talk, Karen, a little bit about what the Friends have coming up today?
I would love to talk about what the Friends. If you haven't heard yet, William Kent Krueger is coming to town.
Maybe a small mention somewhere.
Small mention.
Somebody maybe have mentioned that.
April 27th, he's going to be at the barn at Stratford. Tickets are still available, not many, on Eventbrite. And we're also having a lunch with him. And so if you want an up-close experience, a book comes with the price of admission. He will sign your book. He will be at lunch. He will sit at each table, and he will talk to people. He's just a delightful gentleman. So if you want to do lunch with him, also go to eventbrite.com. In addition, we are going to be at the Powell Market on May 1st, and we're going to be selling children's books.
Excellent.
So come visit us at the Powell Market. And then our big book sale that goes along with the Delaware Art Festival is going to be May 13th and 14th at the Delaware Library. So we've been pretty busy.
And those book sales go like,
oh
my gosh. You have the best books in those collections.
Yes, come early, come often, and bring your Friends of the Library bags. And if you don't have those, we will get you some. We will sell you some when you come.
Maybe start lifting now to get ready to, have the strength to carry all those books out.
Yes. And you know what else I found? One of the things people are using our books for is to decorate their house. Like one lady came and she wanted only yellow covers, and then the next time she came back, she wanted blue because they went well in her library.
Librarians, I still have an alphabetical collection, which my husband does make fun of on a regular basis in my bookshelves. But, his are organized by Marvel genre. And let me tell you, do not alphabetize Detective Batman unless it's in with the other Batmans, or you're in big trouble.
I could do colors much better. I can't do all that.
I want to name a couple of things we have upcoming here at the Delaware Libraries. We have 2 really great online programs coming up. Tuesday, April 19th, we have a program called Parents Stay Positive. It's going to be an online class. We do need registration, but you can do that online with us. It's with our wonderful partner, Centero. They're going to talk about how to get more of the behavior that you want and less of the behavior you don't. So I know even with my nieces and nephews, I could probably use that. I probably should quit giving them caffeine.
My oldest is not quite 50. Could I use it on him?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, I'll sign up.
I don't see why not. So actually, I have talked to a few of the parents on our staff who've gone to those, and they could not say nicer things. Parenting's hard. Why not get a little bit of help? And there's so much, advice out there from people who don't know. Ants like me, please don't take my parenting advice. I have a cat. And Lloyd told me that I'm not allowed to say I'm raising him because I'm not. He is a full-grown man. So don't take advice from me. Go to the experts at Centero. They're there to support and help you. And this is going to be a great program for parents. We also have a resume reboot workshop coming up. That's also going to be online on April 21st from 5 to 6. It's presented by Ashley Watkins, and we'll cover the 3 key areas to help reboot your resume and get it right the first time.
Very cool.
So, all of us can use a little help with our resumes. Mine, it's been years. I know I'm not writing one right now. Let me be clear on that one. But if I were, I always go to the sources of people who do this well. So just know there's a registration for that one online on the DelawareLibrary.org website. So we hope to see you at all of those. And, what a great show we've done. Look, Nicole and George can leave.
Yes.
I mean,
maybe we'll send them away again.
maybe we will.
Yes.
And we'll just go crazy next
Yes.
time. Yeah. We were given a
Fine
little
with me.
script to go with. So I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks at the library. It's going to be exciting. We do keep an eye out at the library. We have construction coming. So we are going to have in May a couple of our branches closed for a week. Keep an eye on our website. We're going to be talking about that. We've got to redo our parking lots. So that's kind of a big thing when you got to kind of get in there. So keep an eye out because we don't want anybody to be surprised on that one when it is here. But I can't wait for the next book sale. I've got my plans there.
That's very cool. And don't forget to drive by the New Liberty Library and see how the construction is going over there.
Oh, and it is going well. I just did a tour last week, and you can
Yes.
see the Friends room. It's going to be enormous. I think we're going to make you very happy.
And we're looking to do our fundraiser for the Makers Studio at the New Liberty Library. So there'll be more information about that.
And if somebody's curious, how would they contact you, Karen?
Contact me at president@DelawareLibraryFriends.org or go to our website, DelawareLibraryFriends.org, and you can get some information. And there's a button there to send us some emails. So absolutely contact me about book sales, about the fundraiser, or about becoming part of the Friends. We always need volunteers. We are looking to have some volunteers help us with book sales. Always need volunteers to help us with fundraising. We have some really cool programs. So just come get involved with us. We're a fun group, and we hope that we do really good things for the library.
Well, Karen, thank you for ad hoc hosting with me.
Thank you.
And thank you all for being on the radio with us. And you know what? We'll see you in the stacks.